Hello everyone and welcome to the Track.eu Vtracc, or the VTuber Track.eu Challenge as the full name of the championship says. We're at round 5 today at, as you can see, Donington Park. Beautiful craner curves there on the backdrop. And I am here today with April Carlsworth. How you doing, April?
Doing great, thank you. How you doing?
I'm doing fine as well. A bit stressful trying to set up the stream earlier, but now we're here and everything's fine. Everything's just peachy, as they say. So, well, since the practice is about to end, let's directly go into the standings. And April, could you please take us away with the AM standings?
Damn standings. Yep, 1 second. Alright, yeah. Am standings. Leading the way right now, we have Eric Gregus with 52 points. Second place, Musong with 48 points. And Kenneth VT in third place with 47 points. Been quite tight already at the top 3, but it stays quite tight as we carry on into fourth. We have DJ Overdrive with 45 points. In fifth place, we have Zen VT, tied with Ekim Chensoi, both at 38 points. In 7th place, we have Zul Akihara with 37 points. Quite tight already at the top 3. 8th place with 36 points is Kaito Nasa. In 9th place, we have G-Fox Foxington with 30 points, followed in 10th by iMentric Zanes with 29. Not a close gap here. In 11th place, we have Amphisto VTube with 24 points. And in 12th place, we have Ubi Deuce with 22. 13th place with 9 points is Deaf Player Ent. And in 14th place with 6 points is Ryuma Tateyama.
Yeah, alright. Then let's next take a look at the pro standings, where it is, well, it's not very close at the top. However, everything is still to play for, with Reina Miyata leading the way with 77 points, followed by Lucas Lichten with 58 and Ruby Nekromata with 53. Then right on Ruby's sales, we have Midnight Hurricane and P4 with 48 points. Psycho Kaiser and P5 with 40. Ryoma Kirihara in 6 with 32. Again, Leggy and Icer Ambra on 7 and 8 respectively, rather close to one another again, and rather close to Ryoma Kirihara as well. In 9th we have Dirty Kohai with 22, 10th is Nami Zero Zek with 20, and in 11th we have Asa Nyampai with 19 points. And with Jordan Brunch with 8 points, equal to Zach Jensen and Sebastiano Rossi with 6 points. And let's quickly also take a look at the team standings. April.
Right, so in teams we've got leading the way X-Ring VTuber Racing Club with 121 points. Second place we have Project GQ Racing with 90 points. Third place with 77 is Fox VTRC x Bagu Racing, one of our collaborative teams. In fourth place we have Techno Burst Rev Up with 73 points. In fifth place we have X-Ring and IGO VTuber Racing Club with 64 points. Very close behind that, with 63 points in 6th place is Queen's Design Panon Formula. 7th place, again very close behind with 61 points, is Technoverse Racing. In 8th place, with 60 points, is Grip Runners Racing. And then tied for 9th, we have X-Ring Spirits and Owuru Bagu Racing Team. Behind that, in 11th with 29 points, is Bagu x Vitality Racing Team. And finally, in 12th, with 28 points, we have Hot Laps and Hairballs. Great team name, I love that one.
Yeah, I love them too. They're definitely the winners of the hearts, even though they're not quite leading the standings right now. So, in that case, let us move over to the qualifying session, which we've just started, and there are already a few people on laps. However, no lap time has been set yet, and it seems like one of the first laps that will come in will be by Ryan Miyata, our current Pro Class Championship leader. They have been absolutely, well, not completely dominant. There was a bit of a hiccup in the round at Suzuka, if I recall correctly. But other than that, Ryan Miata has been doing very well so far this season.
It couldn't really be going much better for Reina Miata in the last 3 races either. Hot off the back of 3 race wins, probably looking at making it 4 this time. Sets our provisional pole at 1 minute 28.0.
There's already a very strong lap, but is immediately beaten by Midnight Hurricane. And us on the umpire almost sets an identical banker lap to Ryan Miata. It was a banger lap as well.
I mean, for these track conditions, I think these lap times are pretty banging, so, you know.
That is true. Let's quickly talk about the track conditions. We are currently on a fast circuit. However, in 10 minutes, there is scheduled to be some rain. So that means there is going to be worse track conditions. This is very similar to what we've seen, I think, last week. Was it to, with the the TGT race? Was it the TGT race? So, yeah, I think it was. Last week's TGT race, also in the middle of the qualifying session, it suddenly started raining. And there are a few people that are currently still trying to improve the lap times, as they should. Reina Miata is one of the first ones for that, currently being about a second. I was about to say a minute, and it's already started raining. Holy hell! So the 10 minutes was not wrong.
I mean, I feel like there's just points, like snapshots, so in 10 minutes time we knew it was going to be raining anyway, but there's 9 minutes up to that point where we don't know. And I guess that's what we're seeing here is just 1 minute later. We didn't have a snapshot of the rain, but here it is now. So yeah, it'll be a mad rush to get everyone's laps in now, I imagine.
It is, well, it looks fairly certain then that Reina Miata has taken pole position already, 5 minutes into qualifying session. Didn't expect that. However, we've got still a battle here for who is going to lead the M class, because Hotaru Rei, one of the newest drivers, is currently about to improve and may even challenge Mo Song, and does so just about improves on Mo Song. And well, I reckon this will be the pole lap for M then, because it's already greasy. That means soon the wet tires will be optimum.
Yeah, that's right. And although that might be the optimal way to get the fastest lap times for the conditions, we've already got our lap times now, so maybe someone's holding out hope for a bit of dry running towards the end. It's hard to say, especially because it's hard to say how quickly the track will dry up. I can't imagine people are too optimistic, though. This might just be a chance for a little bit of relaxation for our drivers who've been, no doubt, frantically going through race prep.
Yeah, I mean, most of the drivers that have visited the practice server over the last few days and weeks have noticed it's pretty much a mixed bag. 50-50 chance of whether we're going to be dry or raining. There's a high likelihood for mixed conditions in the rain. I mean, nobody expected, though, that we already had the mixed conditions in the qualifying session, and there are a few definite losers of that who did not go out immediately. Ryoma Kirihara is one of them, not having set a lap early enough, and, well, now it's raining, so any lap time that they are going to do, they will probably line up behind everyone else.
So I can't imagine it's going to go great either, having seen that huge slide there from Ryoma Kirihara. Very well held, but see another car going off. Oh, and Kirihara going off there as well. Yeah, it can be tricky during these like transitory phases, driving on the slick tires where you know it's the wrong tire, and they're running too cold to be making good grip anyway, even if you can find clean tarmac.
Yeah,
just not a good time.
Yeah, the conditions as well have switched to damp now. That means wet tires are now optimum on the circuit. Lucas Lichten here trying to set a valid lap. It's not going to challenge for the pole, most likely. However, just to get a lap in and to not finish ahead of behind the, well, I guess the other 4 people that did not manage to set a valid lap in time.
Definitely sets us up for an interesting race, though, because Lucas Lichten, as we know, is a very fast driver, the only driver so far in the pro field, besides Reina Miata, who has won a race. So, This could be setting us up for a good show of overtakes, I imagine. See a little
Lu
frustrated, chucking it into the wall though.
Seems like it. Lucas as well is
Yeah.
our reigning championship winner. Well, with the number 1 have on the side of the car and all. So there are a few
Right.
cars that still did not manage to set a valid lap. One of them is Ryo Makirihara, as we mentioned earlier. Ivano Ekimali Boranshenso is coming around to start a valid lap now. Unfortunately didn't get one in earlier, but still winner of the hearts, just by driving the writer.
100% completely agree. Especially when you see that car fishtailing a little bit on the brakes there as well, just struggling with the low grip, but still getting it stopped.
Fishtailing, beautiful pink Wild Things livery. This is an absolute stunner on the field. Yeah. Another car that did not manage to get a valid lap in so far was iMentrix Saints. I know that Mentrix usually likes to wait a bit longer with the valid laps. Get them in a bit towards the end of the qualifying session. Today it came to his undoing, unfortunately.
I completely understand the strategy of trying to wait to get some nice space on the track, a bit of clear air, because usually that window about a minute and a half after the session starts where half the cars are bunched up in one sector, while there's 2 sectors where it's all quite spread out, and that's the easier place to get a lap in. But days like today show that it's not a foolproof plan. Sometimes that just doesn't work out.
Sometimes it doesn't, and it also didn't play out for the only Austrian driver in the grid, Death Player Enter, driving for Owuru Bagu Racing, okay.
Nice one.
Yes. That was a nice save as well. And
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to get in a valid lap here. Currently on a valid time still, not invalidated so far. It's probably not going to challenge for any of the dry running positions, but let's see. We only have 2 full-on wet times on the well, 1 full-on wet time currently standing. That is Lucas Lichten's time. So it would be nice to see how another driver in the M class compares to that. Let's see what Death Player Enter can do. This is the Melbourne hairpin, second to last corner of the circuit, coming up into the last hairpin right now. Adjust your braking points for the wet. Gonna go for a late entry here, trying to stay a bit up, do not get into the puddles, not very necessary in ACC. Let's see, it is going to be a valid lap, and it's 4 seconds down on Lucas Lichten. So there's a huge spread. Oh, but as well, I should probably mention that Lucas Lichten's time was set in the damp conditions, whereas this was set in fully wet conditions. So not really comparable. Ryo Makirihara, though, just set a lap in full wet conditions, 6.6 seconds down from the lead, and 1.3 down from Lucas Lichten.
That just goes to show that there is still some good potential on this track. As much as it is just a case of settling the differences between the people who didn't get a dry lap in, it looks like not all hope is lost. There is still something to fight for in this qualifying session for these drivers.
Well, yeah, for the people that did not set a lap, there's still something to fight for. The others who did manage to set a lap earlier, like Jordan Brunch, who is starting ahead of the entire AM field now, just by 15 thousandths of a second, can take this as a practice for what, well, because there might be rain or wet weather racing in the race as well. We don't know. No one knows, but it's good to get the practice in.
That is true. Definitely a good opportunity to just put some fuel in and get a feel for what it might be like in the race. It's all just about being prepared, especially as we see people a bit out of position here anyway, so I think we are expecting to see the running order change quite rapidly once the race actually starts.
Yeah, Jordan did just set a 1:34.2, which is about on pace with Ryo Makirihara's current best time, which did not improve now from the last try. Death Player Enter trying to improve now. No one else is improving, however, there are a few cars on the grid, Mode Song for example, who are just getting this as a practice session. And we see there was some car off in the gravel at the side. It seems like the conditions are already starting to challenge the drivers.
Seems like it, yeah. Especially in drivers who made a tire pressure adjustment, like when it started raining, because now those pressures will be, I think, too low. Either way, they
Yeah.
won't be quite right. Yeah, okay, cool. Thank you. I've got the maths right in my head then.
Yeah, lower temperature means lower pressures, and with more wet, there is more water that can cool down the tires. So yeah,
Exactly,
everything's
yeah.
cooler.
We might be seeing that adjustment coming undone a little bit here. Like, it's just time for another adjustment. It's probably one of the hardest things about racing in changing conditions like this, because the right pressures straight out of the gate may not be the right pressures in 10 minutes' time.
Yeah,
Oh,
that is correct, especially if we're talking about ACC, which we are in this case, because Assetto Corsa Competizione is notorious for being challenging when it comes to the tire pressures. There are other titles like iRacing or R Factor 2 where it doesn't matter as much. However, in ACC, you really have to be within a window of plus minus 0.5 psi of the optimal pressure in order to get the maximum performance out of the tire. Otherwise, there's a steep drop-off.
yeah, completely agree. I've got into many races with a big spreadsheet of the ideal tire temperatures for different conditions, different temperatures, and 5-minute conversations of, no, trust me, these are the right pressures. Bear with you.
Trust me. My
I'm an
sources, I
engineer.
tested it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
My
mean, there's...
sources, I spent my practice time working out what all the pressures are that we want for all these different conditions, so it'd be nice to actually use it. Things seem to be settling down a little bit now, though. Looks like drivers getting quite comfortable with the conditions now.
Yeah, not many yellow flags at the moment. Drivers are really getting into the groove of it, which is good. We don't want anything happening during the race. As I think in MotoGP, it's usually a saying, "Oh, that's their one crash of the weekend." Basically, you get one free crash, and it's hopefully in practice or quali. Well, hopefully in practice session, not in quali.
Yeah.
But yeah, one
Once we're
free
gonna,
crash and just get it out now.
yeah. Reminds me of an attitude an old friend had of practice is for having the crashes you don't want to have in the race. I guess it's the same thing, isn't it? Learn that you can have this crash in this corner, that's one of the dangers there. And now that you know, you can just
Exactly.
not crash there.
It's all about finding out which length you can drive your car at with the setup you have.
Exactly.
We should not forget as well, wet weather or mixed conditions probably means a different setup than if you're expecting dry conditions. So these drivers hopefully will have prepared the setups to not just include ideal dry conditions.
Imagine so. Especially because any driver who knows what they're doing in this game, any driver who's got good experience in this game will be going into every race with a list of adjustments they can make to the setup if it rains. That might be more wing, it might be changes in ride heights. It'll definitely be a new brake bias.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New
Just having
brake
that
bias,
list
new
ready to
brake
go as part of
pads.
the preparation. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That will be especially interesting because brake pads 1 in the rain, they like to go rather quickly. So let's hope that everyone chooses at least brake pads 2.
Yeah, let's hope. Something that's a little bit more comfortable at lower temperatures.
Yeah. And here
And
we
a little
have
bit more stable as well.
here we have the second new driver, or earlier I said that Dre is one of the newer drivers who's currently leading the AM qualifying standings. Maybe Battery. Quite an interesting name. Is another new joiner for the a X-Ring subdivision team in the Aston Martin V8 Vantage. It's still in the non-Evo version. Unfortunately, the Evo version is not an ACC at the moment. Who knows? Maybe someday.
Maybe if we write it on our Christmas lists, then Kunos will deliver it. Who knows?
Maybe, but then again, they just recently released the Ultimate Edition of ACC, which is basically all of the DLCs. So I sort of think it could not be added as a DLC anymore. Maybe free update? Maybe, hopefully. I don't know.
We can dream. We can certainly dream. Not that it matters too much, though. That Vantage looks absolutely gorgeous in those colours anyway.
It
Reina
does.
Miata here as well, our session leader and championship leader as well.
Exactly. And currently trying to also get a few wet laps in. The last lap was a 34.5, which is about the same pace as we said earlier to Ryoma Kirihara and Jordan Brunstad at the time. So, which is quite interesting. If Reina Miata is only in the 34s in the rain, does that mean someone else might have a better chance today if it's raining in the race, or if there are mixed conditions indeed?
It's difficult to say because I can't help but get the feeling that what Reina's doing here is just experimenting a little bit. Saw them getting a little bit tail out through turn 1 earlier, but it just looked like experimenting to see how early can I accelerate. Not that early. Okay. Just like we were saying before, using the end of the qualifying session where you're not going to get a fast lap in, just spend it preparing for the race. I feel like that's what we're looking at here.
Might very well be. However, I should mention someone else currently. Eric Gregis, where is he? There is he. In the Aston Martin, set a 32.2 as the last flying lap, and that was in wet conditions. So very, very capable wet lap time there by Eric Gregis. Let's see what he can do. And, well, it seems like there was a 33.6 here by Reina Miata, probably listening to the broadcast and immediately saying, oh, I have to show them now.
Shame for doubting me. Yeah, we're just seeing the session wrapping up now as well. Definitely exciting to think that not only have we had this slightly mad qualifying session to shuffle the grid up, but further rain during the race might well do the same thing again. As much as I'm sure the drivers will hate me for this, but I am kind of hoping for rain just for the show. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, as we're lining up here on the grid now, and it looks to be dry. Right now, it's dry. Now let's see. The weather forecast says it's going to stay dry for at least the next 30 minutes. However, for that, let's... Oh, that's zoomed in. That shouldn't be like that. Well, we're doing it live. We're fixing it live. So let's quickly take a look at the standings. In the front, we have Reina Miata, followed by Midnight Hurricane. In P3, there's Arson Empire, then Sek Jensen, Psycho Kaiser, and Jordan Brunch. Ray is the leader of the amps at the start, followed by Mode Song and Zen VT. Then there's Eric Gregis, maybe Battery, maybe not. Kaito Nasa, Amethysta VTube, Ubi Diaz. Whoa. Move.
You good?
No. Ubi Diaz, Nami Zero Zach. Lucas Lichten, Roma Kiriara, Death Player Enter, Ivano, and Imantrix Saints in the rear. Just barely managed because they should be going off any second now for their formation lap. Yes, wow. What timing.
Nailed it.
Absolutely nailed it. This is all planned. Everything is going to plan. Do not question anything at all. So, having seen the qualifying session and that now we are in a dry racing session, what are we expecting of the race?
Well, I'll tell you one thing we're expecting is from the people who qualified at the back who didn't manage to get a dry lap in during qualifying, I'm expecting to see them moving up a fair bit throughout the race. They'll be behind people who they're normally quicker than. So a lot of overtakes left to make to try and pull that back. Should be exciting to watch. Especially interested to see what Lucas Lichten can do. Lucas Lichten, very fast driver, very capable, champion of last season. So yeah, that's one I always like to keep an eye on.
Yeah, Lucas Lichten, of course, Reina Miata now in the dry. We know that in the dry, Reina is usually a monster if they can keep it. That was the issue at Suzuka, where unfortunately they were not able to effectively keep it between the white lines.
Just goes to show it's a very different animal, isn't it, driving in the wet. But hopefully no such problem so far today. As Julian mentioned, it is dry for the next 30 minutes, but beyond that, we just don't know right now. We'll have to wait and see. I'm sure some of our drivers have taken extra fuel as well, just to cover the potential for making a pit stop after the halfway point. Drivers, of course, have to make a pit stop during this race. There is one mandatory tyre change between 5 minutes of the race and 55 minutes.
Exactly, there is one mandatory tire swap, where, well, most of the people are also going to take fuel. I don't think, well, you can run an hour on the full fuel tank, definitely. However, it's just not preferable because you're having too much weight on your car that's just slowing you down for the first half of the stint, and this doesn't add any extra time in the pit stop, so might as well. In any case, we're lining up now. The whole grid is lining up. We're coming up to the start line.
Green light, green light.
And we're green. It seems like there's a good start by Reina Miata, also good by Midnight Hurricane. However, in the second line, Asa the Nyampire has taken Zach Janssen, and it looks to be everyone still fine. There is a bit of a yellow flag in the background. Bit of a coming together maybe there was. As there's a battle here where Jordan Brunch is being overtaken by SenVT actually battling with Lucas there. Lucas already making his way up through the field, already up into P8. What has he done? What masterful start has Lucas Lichten had to immediately make his way back up to P8? Now directly behind Jordan Brunch is going a bit off the circuit in the slipstream. Is he going to go for a move into the chicane? Not quite. Oh, that would have been brave. But he wasn't. He was smart. However, into the next Melbourne hairpin, there might be an overtake opportunity. Let's see if he's going for it. No, but Jordan is going for it. Ahead of Ray. However, overshoots, and that almost is Lucas Lichten turned around. Lucas Lichten losing a position there to SenVT, who sort of got into the back, however, immediately gets out of the way. Lucas Lichten has made up loads of position in this first lap.
Yeah, by my maths, that's 8 positions in 1 lap. And considering there were some moves that we saw Lucas thought better of going for, even with that self-control for not making desperate moves, Lucas has still made this immense progress.
Indeed, your math is absolutely on point. Lucas started from P16, made up 8 positions, is therefore the starter of the grid. The second best starter of the grid is Ryoma Kirihara, who has made up 6 positions. Then we have Death Player Enter as well, who made up 5 positions. Very well done. However, unfortunately, the loser of the start is Mode Song, who seemed to have been involved in the yellow flag we did not quite catch.
Did you say that was the another yellow flag there for another driver off? Didn't quite catch who that was. Yeah. A lot of movements, a lot of little mishaps as well. We see people settling the differences. We see Diaz almost outbraking himself into that chicane, but looks like it all worked out. Eric Gregus now to both Project GQ cars here. Ryoma Kirihara, of course, being in the pro class, is quite keen to get past these two and then start making more progress, because if Ryoma Kirihara overtakes these two cars, that is no points changes for any of them.
Exactly. And as well, Ryoma Kirihara probably has seen the lightning start of Lucas Lichten and wants to catch up with that, wants to get on that train. However, Eric Regis and Zen VT, well, they are not slouches either, even though they're an AM class.
They're definitely not, and it looks to me like they are trying to make a statement here, have a bit of fun. So they're going to make Ryoma fight for it. Good little launch there to get that one, but not an easy one.
That was definitely not easy, I can tell you from experience, that breaking into this corner, that is a, well, it can be rather sketchy. It can be easily rather sketchy.
Oh, completely agree. Scared myself doing that many times. I don't really want to talk about how my one's ended, or rather just think about how well Ryoma's one ended just there.
Indeed. I have another person trying to make out positions here is Lucas Lichten. Oh, as we see in the background, it seems like Zen went a bit wide, whether that was on purpose or not. We don't know. However, right side by side now with Ryoma Kirihara is not going to give up the position, however. He's going to take the inside line. Of course, the M-Class is not obligated to give up the space. It is also not necessarily, well, it's wished by the pros. But the M's don't need to.
I'll bet it's wished by the pros, but yeah, no doubt this is frustrating for Ryoma, who just wants to carry on making progress in this race. We go back to Lucas Lichten and Jordan Brunch here. Lucas Lichten very close, really making that Porsche as big as possible in that mirror, putting on all the pressure.
I mean, compared to the Ford, however, the Porsche is not quite the biggest car. Quite cute, if I do say so myself. However, Jordan Brunch in the Mustang has the advantage of the straight line speed. The Mustang is a beast in the straight line. However, the Porsche is better when it comes to handling the corners. So, as Jordan Brunch is going to try again for a move on Ray, this time much earlier, and Lucas makes the 3 wide. But the move sticks. Jordan also makes the overtake, and wow, that was 3 people that switched their positions completely.
Especially with the way that it all lined up as well. They lined up in a line. It was like seeing the 3 cars just rotate 180 degrees around each other. That was kind of satisfying.
These are satisfying drivers, I have to say. Jordan Brunch now passed Ray, back ahead of the entire AM field, and trying to keep to the back of Lucas Lichten, who is desperately trying to catch up to the front, because the front is sort of spreading apart, as we see a Sek Jensen is 1.5 seconds back of Psycho Kaiser, who's 4 seconds back of Asa Nyanbaya, who is 2.5 seconds back of Midnight Hurricane, who is just about able to keep up with Reina Miata right now.
So Ryoma Kirihara has lost out to Zen VT again. Oh no, this move didn't happen, did it? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was a defensive action earlier by Zen that we saw.
That's right.
Eric Regis is still behind. However, Ryoma Kirihara currently having a bit of trouble of keeping up with Zen VT, it seems. Not nearly close enough to even try and go for a move into the Melbourne hairpin, which is usually one of the best places on the grid to go for a move.
Yeah, just about close enough to make very close. Very.
It seems you're cutting out a bit.
Sorry.
There we go.
Hopefully
Now
that-
we're back. Now we're back.
Hopefully that's better. Cool.
Yeah, Ryoma
Yeah.
Kirihara is directly following Zen VT now again through the old hairpin. This is usually one of the spaces where you can catch up lots. But not like that. Not like that, Ryoma. Not going wide like that. You can't.
No, there's no grip out there on the grass, that's for sure.
Well, one might argue that since it's a British track, there's no grip anywhere.
I mean, that's true. Although, so far so good. It's not rained yet, so as long as the track stays dry, then the grip should be acceptable. Especially in the overlay at the top right. We can see it is down as fast right now, so the grip is improving.
Exactly, it is not optimum, so these drivers are not driving as fast as they could right now. Oh my god. Something just fell down for me, sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah, nothing happened on screen. Don't worry, you didn't miss anything that I saw. As Ryoma Kirihara is still trying to keep up, however not currently able to do so. Hotaru Ray, though, is sort of catching up to Jordan Brunch again, who has lost it a bit. Almost lost it there at the exit of T1. However, lost Lucas Lichten a bit. And now Hotaru Ray wants to keep up and manifest their P1 in the AM standings. Well, standings. Race standings.
Kind of got me wondering as well what's going on with Zen VT as well. I feel like Zen VT might have just given up on trying to chase for first in AM and just let Hotaru Ray run away with it. Because if Zen VT can catch up to Ray and get past, then that is genuine points. That is progress in the championship. Versus the battle with Kirihara, which is not worth anything in the championship. So, kind of curious that it's turned into such a long, drawn-out battle. A lot of defensive moves we've seen as well. All worth 0 points. I love to see it. I'm not complaining.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, as we said earlier, Hotaru Ray is a new driver in this championship, joined for the first time for this race even. So, kind of a wild gun. No one quite knows what they're capable of, and they're showing today, though, that their placement seems to be, well, about correct. There's always that weird transition, the drivers that are sort of between Pro and Am, which
That
was
grey area, isn't it? Yeah.
which was a silver in previous seasons. However, due to the grid size, does not quite warrant having 3 classes. What has happened, however, at the front, because Zach Jensen is now within half a second of Psycho Kaiser suddenly, and we see Lucas Lichten is catching up to that battle as well.
Well, also a conclusion to Ray and Brunch there. Jordan Brunch running off into the grass. That one I've just been... Yeah, okay. Just catch the grass a little bit there towards the end of the corner and just losing all the grip.
Ooh. Oh, that hurt.
Oh,
That hurt.
just goes from bad to worse, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Hope
it
there's not
does.
too much damage on that thing, but that was a heavy hit.
Well, even if it is, we're coming around to the end of the lap, so Jordan Brunch could pull into the pits now. This is the old pit entry. It's not used anymore. Weirdly, I don't quite understand why, because this pit entry is not the best, and we see Jordan Brunch using it immediately. Very short pit entry. Hopefully he didn't speed there. He slowed down very much, but hopefully it wasn't too late. Going back further up ahead, we see Lucas Lichten is closing up to Zach Jensen, has rapidly closed up even, and Zach Jensen themselves are closing up to Psycho Kaiser right now. Psycho having to go defensively as Zach tries to go for the outside line into, I think that's McLean's, trying to get a better exit here. Go for the inside, but Lucas Lichten is on the outside now, trying to get the slipstream of Psycho Kaiser to get both of these positions. All of these position fights are for championship points. Lucas Lichten, of course, second in the championship, needs to take these two drivers on, needs to overtake them, as we see Psycho Kaiser going offline into the gravel, and that's two drivers that made up one free position there. However, Zach Jensen now has to defend from Lucas Lichten, who is definitely wanting to move past the Oceanian driver.
It's one clear statement that we've seen from Lucas like this entire race is, I want progress and I want it now.
Well, we have seen, however, that Lucas does not do so indiscriminately. There are ways to go about overtakes, and there are positions where you are better off not overtaking. Lucas has already shown to be rather smart about that. Earlier, when not overtaking Jordan Brunch into the chicane. However, how long will it take to be able to overtake Zach Jensen? We've seen earlier that the Porsche struggled a bit trying to overtake the Ford Mustang. Taking a much nicer line, however, there. Now we're coming up to the straight, though. Maybe the Ford Mustang, who can pull away, however, not with an exit like that, it can't. Lucas Lichten making it too wide, making it side by side with the Ford Mustang. However, into the next chicane, that is dangerous. Lucas knows that and goes for a later braking, trying to go for the undercut on the exit here into the Melbourne hairpin. Not able to do so. Zach Jensen really defending for their life there and braking very late, being able to keep Lucas Lichten, the reigning champion, behind them. That is a feat. I mean, you can write that on your resume already. Zach Jensen doing everything they can right now to stay in front of Lucas Lichten.
Lucas Lichten there as well, trying to take a late apex, trying to maximize that exit speed. Some of the Porsche's already good with, just to try and get any kind of advantage, get as much slipstream as possible, try to get alongside. No luck here in the start-finish straight, but still staying very close all the way through turn one.
In the meantime, the track condition has switched to optimum, meaning the drivers can really push to, well, almost as much as they desire. Obviously, there is a limit with the cars, even on optimum track temperature and condition. And the quickest time so far has been set by Midnight Hurricane, who is currently in the second position and is staying behind Rainer Miata for now. The battle is about as close as we're seeing it here, between Lucas Lichten and Zach Jensen. Let's actually quickly look. They are coming into the Melbourne hairpin already. They are quite a ways ahead, even though the race has only been 16 minutes so far. Now, Lucas Lichten, again, not able to capitalize completely with a potentially better exit speed and cornering speed of the Porsche. Zach Jensen just doing everything, and it's working.
It really is. Lucas Lichten's a very quick driver, but just can't seem to find a way around at the moment. Still staying close in case the opportunity pops up, but it's just not happening. See him go for that late apex there again. Making a habit of that one. All he can do is tuck back into the slipstream, and Ford Mustang top speed's going to do what it does best.
And interestingly, even though they're battling, both of those drivers, Zach Jensen and Lucas Lichten, have just set their best laps of the race. 128 flats, respectively. Lucas Lichten getting very close now, however, on the exit of T1, not able to capitalize into the old hairpin. It's a sketchy spot to overtake anyways. It is possible, but not the most recommended spot. However, this is where Lucas Lichten seems to be the strongest in these few corners here. However, he really needs a good exit onto the back straight in order to go for a potential move in the chicane, which, as we've said before, is also not a very good spot.
It's not. These might play into some frustration as well for Lucas, because I do think that the Porsche is actually faster in straight line acceleration in the first few hundred meters out of a slow corner like that chicane or like this hairpin. But after that, the Ford Mustang straight line speed just ends up coming in, and you see that back and forth, which must be driving Lucas a little bit crazy right now.
It might as well. It certainly would drive me crazy. I have driven in similar situations in the past. GT4s, driving the KTM Crossbow GT4 against Jordan Brunch in the Camaro. Now that is basically this exact same battle, just scaled up by 10, and it's incredibly infuriating.
It really is. Especially because there's one side that's very clearly a good advantage for defending a position and overtaking, and it's not the same one that's good for getting a great lap time in.
Indeed. However, this is close now. Lucas Lichten as close as he's never been to Zach Jensen. Zach Jensen taking a bit of the grass. Lucas getting a bit unsettled on exit there, losing the rear just a tiny bit, and therefore not able to keep up very closely into the chicane. However, through the chicane, Zach Jensen takes it beautifully. A tiny bit wide on the exit, however, nothing much for Lucas Lichten as they're coming up to Ironmetric Sainz, who seems to be a lap down.
I suppose we don't see more mistakes from Zach Jensen either. This is some serious pressure that Lucas is putting on him, but he still seems to be keeping it cool and hitting his marks, getting it right, doing exactly what he needs to do to keep that position.
I mean,
I've seen some mistakes from Lucas, but it seems to mostly just be where Lucas is trying to drive without downforce by getting as close as possible.
no matter what anyone wants to say about this is a great showing by Zach Jensen, really showing how well they can drive the Mustang, how well they can use it on this circuit. It is... honestly, it's not something that I would have expected, giving such a great fight to the reigning champion. Zach Jensen, of course, also being a rather recent addition to the grid, having joined this season for the first time, if I recall correctly. Lucas Lichten having been around for seasons and being champion, the reigning one. I can only repeat that as often as I can. And still, he doesn't manage to find a way past the American Mustang power.
Now, full compliments to Zach Jensen here. Absolutely keeping it cool.
What I'm thinking right now as well, one of these days it might be better for Lucas Lichten to just dash into the pits. Or just try to get clean air, isn't it?
It probably is. We're probably approaching the point now where that'll be useful as people have spread out a little bit. It's more likely that Lucas will come out in clean air and can get the overtake done effectively, like as a ghost, having done it through the pit stops being out of sync. Go for the undercut, as it were. Which is a very viable strategy with how much of these tyres are preheated straight out the garage. It's very easy to hit the ground running after a pit stop.
Exactly, there's a bit more warming up, but that you have to do to get the pressures exactly right. However, that's a lap. That's just a lap. However,
It's
that
easy,
lap
yeah.
will also have to be taken by the other car, just at a different time. Honestly, if I were in this situation right now, I would just pit now and not try to battle this battle that I can't win.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'd be making the exact same decision if I were Lucas. Especially because I think we're getting to the point now in the race where people aren't going to be too scared of rain in the later stages of the race. It looks like I'm not getting my wish, but the drivers are. In 30 minutes time it will not be raining. There is only 8 minutes of the race after that, so yeah, it kind of makes sense to stop holding onto the pit stoppers and ace up your sleeve and start spending it to make some progress.
He sort of does. Lucas Lichten here, we can always see into this last hairpin. Rather late on the brakes, however, just nowhere to go with that overspeed, as we see right behind that. That is Psycho Kaiser pulling in the pits. So Psycho, despite having the clean air and potentially getting to look at the beautiful lines that both Zach and Lucas are taking, pulling into the pits right now.
Wondering if Psycho Kaiser's hoping that these two will get into battling soon and start actually losing some time rather than just running like a train right now. Almost literally on the train. Lucas is almost close enough to just hook his bumper up to the rear bumper of that Ford Mustang and just carry on through like a train, yeah. Because all that side-by-side battling costs you time, but all the time they're just nose-to-tail driving the ideal lines like this, they can still put in lightning-fast lap times.
That is correct, and they are putting in the best laps currently of their race. Last time around, Lucas Lichten has put in his best lap time. As we see Zach Jensen having a tiny error there, maybe Lucas can now capitalize on it. Let's see. Oh, very late braking by Zach Jensen. I did not know the Mustang could brake this late. Lucas trying to look for the inside a tiny bit. Not able to do so, however. And in the next corner, yeah, we always see here that Lucas is braking later, the side by side. However, Lucas is only on the outside, not being able to capitalize. Here, however, maybe as the side by side, but Lucas is again on the outside only, and we already see the Mustang pulling his weight with the, well, the American muscle.
Yeah, American cars showing us what they do best there. The two cars side by side, but still the Mustang pulls ahead. Side by side again, coming down through the Craner curves.
Oh, but this time!
Place to keep up between line too wide, but looks like Lucas Lichten is through.
There was just a tiny error there by Zach Jensen that allowed Lucas Lichten to get through. Now it's going to get interesting. Can Lucas Lichten pull away? Or will Zach Jensen try to fight back for this position now? Will he be able to? We're coming up to the best part for the Ford Mustang, which is the straights.
Yeah, that Jensen's still very close to that Porsche, close enough to no doubt start closing up that gap here. We should see it start shrinking any second now. Oh, that shrunk a lot less than I thought it would actually.
Yeah, indeed. Lucas Lichten, however, is also in the slipstream right now of a back marker.
Yeah.
It might be Psycho Kaiser who came out of the pits. No, it's not. Anyways, yeah, Lucas Lichten being able to make a gap here now. It seems that all that was missing for Lucas was the clean air. And Zach Jensen has now decided to pit. Almost as if the plan was to, just hold Lucas up and then go for pits.
You know what, I imagine that's exactly what the plan was. Because Zach's going to be coming out of the pits on fresh tyres, and if these two were even on equal tyres, Zach's just about to start putting in laps on fresher tyres than Lucas is. May well be able to undo that overtake just using fresh rubber by the time Lucas pits.
Until then, our current leaders are still running in the 1-2 formation. Midnight Hurricane are now 1.5 seconds behind Reina Miata. Still with the purple lap, however, which is a 127.030. Reina Miata's best lap is 127.380. However, both of these are the only drivers on the entire grid that so far managed to get into the low 27s in the earlier stages of the race. I also have to mention that these laps were done when the track was not yet optimum.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we're still seeing very quick lap times from them right now, but really goes to show what these drivers are capable of when they've got the fresh tyres on there and when they've got the machinery working exactly how they want it to.
Indeed, so far it looks like a 1-2 for the X-Wing drivers. Lucas Lichten is now pulling into the pits. after the battle. Quite interesting move. Arthur the Umpire, however, is currently doing very well in P3. This third position is really strong showing for the Irish driver.
Also can't help but notice that Aston Empire's fastest lap is also faster than that of Zach Jensen and Lucas Lichten. So maybe some potential there as well.
And it seems like the BMWs take rather easy to this circuit, because both of them are handsomely in the top 3 right now.
Especially with a chicane like that. I was just like, so confident going through it. Especially using those curves.
Further down we have a battle between Mo Song, who in the start had a bit of a mishap, where we don't exactly know what happened. However, has now caught up to UBD as the Midnight Hurricane, and P2 is currently pitting. So this is a battle. Both of them have not yet pit. Mo Song, however, getting very close. The front engine Mercedes, totally different driving style from the mid-engined Ferrari up ahead. And it seems like in this sector right here, the Ferrari has the upper hand.
Seems like it, but maybe about to see that switch round. As over the chicane, I imagine the front engine is going to handle those curves just a little bit better. Which of course sets the Mercedes up for the straights, where it is also very strong.
The Mercedes is known for being very strong across curves, as are most of the front engine cars, to be at least somewhat strong. But yeah, the Mercedes is a beast when it comes to that. Maybe that helps around some corners here. Luckily, Donington is one of these tracks that does not have the most aggressive curves, let's just put it that way.
Yeah, no really savage anti-cuts or anything like that. It's just a case of where does the grip run out and where do the track limit penalties start kicking in.
Exactly, the track limit penalties are the thing around here. This is one position where you can easily get some on the exit of the old hairpin. However, very safe here by Ubidius and Mo Song, both of them being as Mo Song. Oh, there was just a tiny bit of a... Oh! What do we have here? Seems like we have some internet problems for Mo Song there, right in the middle of the battle. Quite a few different drivers were able to, well, and have now made a position as Mo Song seemingly has reset to the pits.
Seems that way. It looks more like Mo Song's just outright disconnected.
Yeah. Mo Song...
internet drop or something?
Maybe. Mo Song is no longer in the server at the moment. Jordan Brunch here, having had that earlier bit of trouble, is currently in the process of making up backup positions. However, still in the middle of the AM field right at the moment.
Jordan Brunch, also the first person we saw take a pit stop in this race. So no doubt feeling the age on those tyres a little bit, but still knowing that they're perfectly good, perfectly strong.
I mean, honestly, I think the tires, as long as you don't have an uber aggressive setup, the tires can definitely hold out easily for an hour.
They can, but there's part of me that always thinks in a race like this, you take a set of tyres that last an hour and think, okay, how do I spend these faster so that I can go faster over the course of half an hour? To me, that's always a question in the back of my head with these kinds of races. It can be hard to just gain speed by abusing them, but nonetheless, I'm sure there's some tricks that race leaders and race winners have up their sleeves to try and get a little bit of extra out of them, knowing that they don't need to last.
Yes, indeed. I mean, I think that if you handle them well, that the tires can even double stint. But for that you really have to handle them carefully and well. And as there was a question earlier, I think Ruby Nekomata is not participating today. I unfortunately do not know the reason for that, however. Maybe Battery, who was the leader for the AMs real quick, is now in the pits, as well as Ubi Diaz. That means I think Sen VT is now in the provisional AM lead again. Yeah, already coming around Melbourne happen here. And the other two AMs just now came into the pits. So Sen VT about to take back the AM lead.
See how these things all unfold as well. Last questions of what's going on with the pit strategy all emerging here. Can't imagine we'll see Reina Miata drop out at first after that pit stop, but... And yeah, just as you said, then VT back into first.
Yeah, exactly. Reina Miata now in the pits, and we'll have to see whether Midnight Hurricane was able to catch up, coming around now the last two hairpins. Reina Miata now getting dropped already. Midnight Hurricane not even around the last corner. Let's see. Would it be rather close? Not quite. It seems like Reina Miata was able to catch, well, to gap Midnight Hurricane a bit. However, now on the fresher tires, we'll maybe have to warm them up a bit, as we see Jordan Brunch, unfortunately, with a drive-through penalty, which is almost certainly for track limits.
I imagine so. That is not the dream, though. It'd be so tempting, especially in this chicane, to just use a little bit too much, but it always catches up to you.
Exactly. That chicane is treacherous for the track limit warnings. It's the most dangerous place. As we see Death Player enter, doing exactly the thing that can lead to the drive-through penalty. That did not look like the best line there through the chicane.
It did not. I'll be shocked if their screen didn't come up with the message, track limit, cut warning.
Either that or no time gained, at least. But yeah, because it seems like what? Yeah, it was a bit of a slower lap than usually, 32.3. As we see, Jordan Brunch is now exiting the pits, and Kaito Nasa entered the pits for the mandatory pit stop. There's still a few cars out that have not done them. Death Player Enter is one of them. Kaito Nasa is currently doing it, and Mode Song, who has rejoined, who has been able to fix their internet, fix their connection. However, now running in last and still without the mandatory pit stop.
That's got to be infuriating, knowing that you're already this far off the back of the field and you're going to lose more ground to still having to do your pit stop.
On the other hand, however, Ubi Diaz now getting past Death Player Enter, who is now side by side with Jordan. Jordan is off the circuit there. However, the Ford Mustang just being quicker in the straight line here, and Jordan Brunch overtaking half of the circuit.
Just about got it back on the circuit for the important bit, you know, the braking zone, get the grip back for that, but yeah.
Indeed, well, right behind them with the battle between Midnight Hurricane and Reina Miata, they almost touched there in the Melbourne hairpin. However, now coming into the last hairpin, does Midnight Hurricane want to take this win away, maybe?
I'd be shocked if Midnight Hurricane doesn't. Midnight Hurricane currently has no race wins this season, and given the opportunity to change that, I'm sure he's going to jump on it. Oh yeah, you can just see in that exit, Midnight really wants it.
Oh yes, Midnight is looking very racy. Oh, getting a bit liberal with the track limit, it seems, as well.
Trying to maximize it as much as possible, hopefully not too much.
Well, as it works in ACC, you have 3 track limit warnings that you can get. So basically, you can cut the circuit 3 times. On the 4th time you do it, you get a drive-through penalty, which we saw earlier with Jordan Brunch. So you have to cut the circuit 4 times and gain time while doing so in order to get a drive-through penalty. I know of some drivers who like to use those 3 times, let's just put it like that. I will mention, however, as well, that some cuts that are too egregious are not just a warning. If you do it too egregiously, you might already immediately get a drive-through or stop-and-go penalty, sometimes even a disqualification.
Even on a first offense, if it's egregious enough, yeah, that could definitely happen.
Yeah,
As much as you don't want to name names about drivers who try to use their track limit allowance, I'll name one, me. And speaking from experience, it can go very wrong. It is very much playing with fire.
It is indeed. If you try to use them too early and then you do an oopsie in the later stages, that's a drive-through. So
Exactly.
yeah,
What you're doing is driving yourself with mistakes you could make.
they're supposed to be a safety net and not a tool to be wielded. However, playing with fire, some people might burn themselves, but others might yet live. As the 2 drivers in the front here are coming up to Jordan Brunch, who is not last in the pro class. Nami Zero Zack and Psycho Kais are still behind the Jordan Brunch, staying on the inside here, however, letting the 2 leaders pass, seeing that there's a battle between the 2, even though the 2 are in... Wait, let me check. They are in different subdivisions of X-Ring, but they are still battling for the overall lead here, and, well, they are both part of X-Ring, so I guess you could sort of say that's like all of them are contracted maybe to something like Red Bull, where you may be less aggressive when making a move on a sort of teammate, because, well, sponsors might get angry, or the head of the team, or whatever.
Yeah, no one wants to deprive the team of results, especially if it's in an intra-team conflict. But I imagine these 2 are just bound by the usual rules. Don't crash into each other. Don't take out your teammate. That's a very awkward race debrief if you do. But even so, Midnight Hurricane's going to want to try and take this win.
Definitely.
There's no way they don't. Yeah.
I mean, if I have driven in the past in Track to the U GT Cup with teammates, I have battled with teammates, because if I've got the option to take the position, to get more points, I will do it.
Yeah, completely agree. But at the end of the day, everyone's here to race. Even if that's with a teammate, you still want to get some action in. You still want to prove the differences between you, don't you?
And to be honest,
Slight
contact there, yeah. But to be honest, the points advantage that Reina has to Lucas Lichten, currently it looks comfortable enough to have a bit of a gander for Midnight Hurricane. So, I mean, that's just 5 points. Come on. Like, yeah, come on. 5 points that can be taken.
Yeah, exactly. That'll be perfectly safe.
Lucas Lichten, in the meanwhile, as we just mentioned, him is catching up to Arsene Empire. Slowly but surely. Currently 5.7 seconds behind the Irish driver, but is catching lap by lap. Last time around, for example, was 0.2 quicker. The question is just, will it be enough to catch up until the end of the race? And then also, will it be enough to overtake as well? Because catching up to someone is one thing, overtaking is a complete different one.
It is, and as Lucas Lichten already knows from this race, sometimes overtaking someone can take time, so the sooner Lucas Lichten catches up to Asa, the more time he's going to have to actually try and get a move done.
Indeed, he's seen it multiple times today, Interestingly, with two different Mustangs. Asanyanpa is in a BMW, so that might be slightly different. There might be different characteristics between the two. Still, shouldn't be taken lightly, as it looks like... What was that? What do you mean the last lap was a 27.1?
That is a big jump there from Reina Miata.
It is a big jump. However, Midnight Hurricane has the best lap currently with a 26.95. So, yeah, fresh tires, optimum track. I guess these guys really do mean business now.
Yeah, it seems like it. We've seen Reina Miata getting a little held up there as well by backmarker Reiter, the World Things. Yeah, just got past now, but... I guess we're seeing that little clash unfold there of Midnight Hurricane has the green light to try and take that win, which means Reina Miata's got to step it up a little bit to try and keep it. Gap down to just 1 second there.
There's also Jordan Brunch, who is a bit down the circuit from these leaders, currently trying to catch up to maybe Battery in order to climb the ranks of the AM drivers now, manifest their lead from Nami Zero Zach, who is the next pro car behind, and maybe, unlikely, but have a gander at maybe catching one of the front-running pros. To be honest, with all of the bad luck that Jordan Brunch has had today, that might be more of an, well, if something happens to a driver up ahead. However, it's racing. You never know what happens.
That's right, which is why I think Jordan Brunch needs to ask the question, maybe Battery, maybe overtake, and just take whatever progress he can get in this race. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
That one was great.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, total props for me. That one, yeah, I like that one.
Thank you.
That came so out of the blue. I did not expect that. Wow.
I've been thinking about that one for about 10 minutes now. I'm glad I managed to sneak it in finally.
Yeah, Jordan Brunch being able to catch up, getting a bit unsettled there on the exit, coming up to the back straight. However, it's the Mustang. Come on, it's the Mustang, and we're in the straights now. This is the section that this car was built for, at least in ACC. And this is the section where Jordan Brunch is going to try and take every opportunity to catch up to the Aston Martin V8 Vantage of maybe Battery. Out of the Melbourne hairpin now, a bit of a wide exit there, maybe not the best line he could have taken. But yeah, he's slowly but surely catching up, it seems, to maybe Battery, to maybe overtake.
It's also satisfying to see that the Mustang here is not living up to the usual American car stereotypes. Because yes, this thing is very powerful, great line, but we also think very strong brakes as well. And it's bad record.
Yes. Maybe fix your microphone again. As we move to the front, and Midnight Hurricane is catching up to Reina Miata.
Okay, hopefully that works better. I don't know what's going on today, but what's a broadcast without some technical problems?
Boring. That would be absolutely boring.
It would. It'd be too easy, wouldn't it?
Exactly. We're doing it not because it is easy, but because we thought it would be easy, to be fair. Anyways. Midnight Hurricane really close now to Reina Miata again. Trying to really get close, to go for a safe move, I reckon. Like, there's not going to be the Harakiri dive bomb that you might see from drivers in different situations. Because this is still sort of a teammate battle, as we said earlier, even though they're not racing for the same subdivision. Midnight Hurricane will want to make this safe. Well, if they want to pass, they will want to make this safely and without any damage, without potentially costing Reina Miata the championship, because that is technically still open. I think it can be manifested today, actually, but currently it's still in the open, so going too risky, not the way to go.
There is also a danger with a big team like this as well, of these drivers will know each other very well. They'll have no doubt done practice for this together. I know anytime I'm entering a race as a team, I always like to try and get some actual racing practice in with my teammates, where no holds barred, we just experiment and try to work out all the weird places you can overtake, try to practice doing them, defending against them. See Midnight Hurricane around the outside.
Oh!
Contact on the braking zone there, and Midnight Hurricane manages to get through in the middle of that scuffle. The change for the lead.
And since I'm just now looking at the pro class standings, this makes things interesting, because Lucas Lichten is actually 19 points behind Reina Miata. So if Reina Miata finishes with, quick maths, 19, 26, right? Oh, as they come together! And both of them are stood still on the exit of turn 1 now.
We see Midnight Hurricane taking a very long arc to try and turn around, get moving again. Reina Miata, of course, has to wait and give that position back. All the while, Arsene Empire and Lucas Lichten are closing in.
They're closing in. Arsene Empire, previously being down 16 seconds, is now only down 5 seconds to Midnight Hurricane. Reina Miata now has the lead back, but they're in the middle of some back markers now. Midnight Hurricane having to overtake. I think that is Ubi Diaz there, or Death Brand, going very wide and getting unsettled there. Now behind the M driver once again, and there's Jordan Brunch, really just bringing that Ford Mustang into the fray here. Holy mackerel, this is suddenly turned into a battle. All the way, Arsene Empire is just a few cars behind, looking at this unfold, looking at her chances to maybe get a P2 now.
It's definitely possible with all of that, and of course mistakes breed mistakes, so keep an eye on Midnight Hurricane in case anything else happens. And although none of these drivers necessarily expect to beat Midnight Hurricane on an equal footing, this is no longer an equal footing.
Oh, and Lucas Lichten really in the kerfuffle here with the back markers. Moving out of the way though, but he's now really caught up to the back of Arsene Empire. Oh, there's an Aston Martin in the way. Probably best get that to the outside of the next corner, but Lucas Lichten is now directly in line of sight. Nicely done, Aston Martin, off the BMW of Arsene Empire. This will be the battle for P3 on the podium, as Arsa is currently overtaking there on the outside, the back marker of either Ubidius or Death Player Enter. Lucas Lichten also able to overtake them before being, well, inconvenienced through the old hairpin, which is a rather distasteful spot to do any sort of overtaking. However, now he's got a clear line of sight, and he's right behind Arsene Empire, almost on her rear.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting traffic management to be an important skill in this race, but looks like Lucas Lichten's got it. Yeah, that'll be target acquired. Now in that ball-shaped position, missile, because it's got a lock on now.
It does have to lock on, and there seems to be a yellow flag somewhere. Seems to be the Death Player Enter and maybe Battery had a sort of coming together, because both of them lost position. Oh, and there's a timing together there with Psycho Kaiser now. And that hurts. That hurts. And there's Sek Jensen as well in the fray. Holy mackerel, that's a horrible spot to crash, I can tell you, because you have absolutely no visibility over the exit of the... Not Marlborough. What's the town? Melbourne. Melbourne
yeah,
happened. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. It's all also just being in that really awkward angle where it's hard to move from where you are without risking another collision with something you can't see.
Yeah, but unfortunately we did saw a few collisions here. However, they will be handled post-race. by the stewards. There will probably be penalties given out for that. It was recorded on the stewarding sheet. That means the stewards will have a look at that, definitely. In the meantime, Lucas Licht... Mealtime? It's not mealtime. In the meantime, Lucas Lichten has managed to half the gap to us in the umpire to what we've seen earlier. Now 0.6 of a second behind. 0.5 now on the exit of the chicane. The Porsche is going to be nimble through these fast corners. I dare to say more nimble than the BMW.
Oh, 100%, it definitely will be. We're looking at Lucas Lichten here as well. Started the race in 16th place and is now eyeing up the first podium spot. Be a hell of a climb for Lucas if he can pull this one off.
Yeah, because
by the look of how close he is, he's definitely ready to give it a go.
Yeah, if we remember back to earlier in the race, Lucas Lichten obviously started from P16 after having missed the dry running window of the mixed session qualifying, which after 5 minutes of qualifying, it suddenly started to rain. A few drivers were caught out by this. Lucas Lichten was one of them. However, now back up battling for the podium positions. And as I wanted to say earlier when we saw a crash between Reina Miata and Midnight Hurricane, there is not that many points separating them. Well, there is 19 points between Reina Miata and Lucas Lichten at the moment. However, with 26 points on offer every round, and this being the penultimate round, that means, quick maths, saying that if Reina Miata finishes with 7 points more than Lucas Lichten today, they are going to be our champion of the season already.
That's a very good point, actually, yeah. Especially with these drivers already having fairly low scoring rounds for their drop scores already. It really isn't.
Right, drop
Much
scores
more
also
space.
playing into that.
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't even know what the drop scores are for Lucas Lichten and Reina Miata right now. For Reina Miata, I reckon it would be Suzuka, which was
Suzuka.
the non-win.
Yeah, the only non-win so far this season for Reina Miata. Look this up, see if I can find it.
Oh god, the drop route makes the maths not math. I don't like this. Well, anyways, we are not quick maths enough to calculate drop rounds as well. We would have to hire a major in mathematics for doing that, I guess. But we don't have the time for that. The money. Vtracc Saints has gotten a drive-through for track limits, and as it seems from the position where he's currently on track, that might be due to the chicane.
It's got to be the chicane. That's got to be the most tempting place.
Pit window is
See
now
Lucas
closed.
Lichten here getting up alongside Asen Janpire.
This is a very tempting place to overtake. Asen Janpire trying to go for the undercut, however, parked on the apex by Lucas Lichten. Very nicely done the overtake. Melbourne Hairpin is a very good place to go for a move. Very, well, if you have controls over your brakes, complete controls over your brakes, it's very simple to just stick it on the inside and park it on the apex, as Lucas has demonstrated here beautifully.
Really has. We see. Oh my god, no, Madero back. Spun around here as well.
And a sketchy rejoin to boot. Let's see what exactly happened. Oh, trying to go for him. Just too late on the brakes, trying to go on the inside of the Porsche.
Yeah. Definitely looked like one of those blunders you make when you know you brake too late and you're either rear-ending this person or trying to go for the lunge. So, obviously you picked the lunge.
Luckily, Amethysta has not sustained much time loss due to that. Went off circuit, immediately was able to rejoin the circuit without much problem. Is running currently P6 in the AM class.
Go back here to Kaito Nasa chasing down Ivano Shansoi.
We seem to have an issue with Midnight Hurricane having lost connection.
Oh no.
Midnight Hurricane is now in the pits. This means Lucas Lichten is now in P2, which means the points difference. Oh, as Arsene Umpire really outbreaks himself there. The points difference between Reina Miata and Lucas Lichten is not big enough to denote a championship winning today by non-drop round scoring. So I guess we're opening up for the last round now.
We are no wrapping up the show today. We are going to have to come back and do the last race after all, it turns out.
So unfortunate. So unfortunate.
Shame.
I mean, it's not like we've gotten complete and utter action throughout this entire race that kept us on our toes the entire time. Totally would not want to repeat it again, as there's only 2 minutes 22 left on the timer right now. Midnight Hurricane all the way down in P17 now. I don't think they're going to leave the pits for one more lap or whatever they could do. This has opened up so much. Kaito Nasa, however. What happened to Ivano there? Let's take a look at the replay. Going off there at the exit of the old hairpin, trying to make space for the front runner. Oh, and just gets unsettled there, trying to cut across the inside curb too much.
Yeah, car just bouncing over, and it's a very easy way to make it overreact as well.
Okay, so this means with about... Let's take a look at Reina Miata. Yeah, with about 1 3/4 laps to go. Reina Miata is currently in the lead. Your provisional podium P1. Lucas Lichten provisional podium P2. And Arsene Umpire provisional podium P3. We're only 1 and a bit laps to go. Everything is still up. Everything can still happen. However, Reina Miata looks very comfortable to finish this where they have started.
Well, on the subject of looking comfortable, we saw a little mistake there from Arsene Umpire in the background as well. This will be her best finish all season if she can keep it in third.
It will. It will be also good points for Panon Formula of Queen's Design X Panon Formula, as you see a plane landing in the background. Beautiful, Donington. Psycho Kaiser has gotten a drive-through penalty now for track limits. But yeah, it will also be good points, even though Ruby Nekomata is not here today. Maybe due to an outing at an esports event.
Okay.
Who knows? I don't. All I know is that the final lap has now started, and Reina Miata is looking set to finishing this from P1 into the win.
Definitely showing why Reina Miata deserves this win as well. If you weren't here for any of the other race wins that Reina Miata has put in, they look very much like this, commanding the race from the lead pretty much the whole way through. Just controlling it and bringing it home right where she started.
I will have to say it's also beautiful seeing those commanding wins coming from a Honda NSX, which is not the most likely pick that any driver would have.
No, that's a good point, but you're right, it's always nice seeing something different taking the gold medal, isn't it?
But to be fair, since we're racing with the LFM BOP here, thanks to our partners at LFM, by the way, at this point, and all of these cars are rather similar in pace. Well, the old cars are still a bit sketchier, let's say. But the new cars are all sort of similar. It's still nice to see an off-meta pick like this. Reina Miata coming around the last corner now on Donington Park circuit and finishing the race. Commanding lead. 13 seconds ahead of P2 in P1. P2, Lucas Lichten coming around for the start-finish straight now. Right behind them, we have Arsene Umpire with the first podium finish of the season, maybe ever in Pro Class. I'm not quite sure about that now. However, very well done by the Irish driver. Sek Jensen is coming around the last corner now for P4. Ryoma Kirihara right behind that. coming into P5. ZenVT looks commanding to win the M class ahead of Hotaru Rei, who is currently behind a back marker of the Reiter Gallardo driven by Ivano Yebi. Eric Gregg is looking to finish P3 in the M class. So shoutouts here to Ray, especially their first race in our series, managing to get a pre-stewarding P2 in class. Jordan Branch is P6 in the Pro class, followed by maybe Battery, who is P4 in AM, and Ubi Diaz, who is P5 in AM. Let's finish the Pro class with Naomi Zero Zack and P7, Psycho Kaiser in P8, and Midnight Hurricane in P9. And the M class goes on with Amethyst VTube in P6, Kaitanasa in 7, Deathplayer Enter in 8, Ivano Sensoi in 9, Menchix in 10, and Mode Song finishing in last, a few laps back, as did Midnight Hurricane due to a disconnect.
Go, go, go.
The server is now restarted, which means we are at the end of the race and at the end of the stream. Honestly, this has been a blast of a race. What were your thoughts?
Yeah. I think this race has kind of run me to not question things that feel like they should be taken for granted. So, for instance, we saw Lucas Lichten have a really rough time in qualifying, but nonetheless he's managed to turn that into second place. On top of that, it seemed pretty certain that Reina Miata was going to win the race until Midnight Hurricane entered the picture and almost took the lead off them. So, yeah, good race for just questioning what you think you know for sure, because turns out you never really know.
And who was your driver of the day? Would you like to have a vote for that?
I think my vote's got to be Lucas Lichten. Easy. He climbed, what was it, 14 positions by the end? That's huge.
That is fair. Lucas Lichten is a very strong contender for that. I'm going to nominate someone else, though. I am going to nominate Zach Jensen, because that defense from Lucas Lichten really positively surprised me.
Oh yeah, that was incredible. Zach Jensen did amazing to hold off Lucas for as long as he did.
So, now that we are at the end, we have also given up our votes. What are your thoughts on the driver of the day? Let us know. And until then, well, I think we're at the end now. We don't have anything left to mention. In 2 weeks, there's the last round, which is a 1-hour race around the Nordschleife. Actually, the 24-hour layout of the Nürburgring Nordschleife combined. So that is going to be very interesting, and that might as well mix quite a few things up when it comes to the championship. So be ready. Well, be ready. Tune in for that. As well as next week, we have the sixth round, the final round. The final round at Silverstone for Track to the U GT Cup, which we're also broadcasting here. We will not be here. There will be another commentator's team. However, also be sure to tune in for that. Well, at this moment, there's nothing left for me to say, except for thank you so much for watching, and see you on the racetrack.